The Doghead Fire started in the Manzano Mountains on June 14th and has since burned close to 18,000 acres. Heat and dry conditions are hampering firefighters' ability to fight that blaze, and the weather forecasts predict continued hot, dry conditions. As of Thursday, the fire is more than 2/3 contained. Now, what do you think about the response to the fire? Did you have to evacuate? And what was your experience? Get in touch with us here at New Mexico in Focus at newmexicoinfocus.org or find us on Facebook or Twitter. Our line opinion panelists this week are Daniel Foley, former New Mexico House Minority Whip. Merritt Allen is here. She's from Vox Optima LLC. Sophie Martin, an attorney and editor of DukeCityFix.com. And our good friend, former New Mexico State Senator Eric Griego is with us tonight. Daniel, fire season again. We may see more fires in the coming weeks. Are we ready?
No.
Based on what you've seen on the Doghead Fire?
We're never ready. There's nothing we can do to get ready. You know, it seems to be a horrible cycle that we have. We finally get a wet winter. We finally get some water. We finally address some of the water crisis. Along comes the windy spring and the hot summer, and all of a sudden, all of that green turns to brown, and it's ablaze.
It's amazing after last year, we had a pretty reasonable summer for fires last year. Have we let down our guard a little bit, perhaps?
No, I don't think we've let down our guard. I just think it's unbelievably expensive, and the problem is it's the people that are in politics, legislators, counselors, commissioners. It's not sexy to put money away for future fires. Right. You know, it's either go build a park today, or do we buy fire trucks that are going to sit hidden, put away until that fire comes. When the fire comes, everybody wants every resource, everybody promises everything, and it's almost kind of a catch-22, right? I mean, how do you prepare, right? I mean, how many more fire trucks do you buy? How much more training do you do? The good news is for New Mexico, though, is that this is not a total anomaly. I mean, we're on that circuit of hot shots and airplanes and the people. So we do get a pretty quick response when something happens. What is interesting to watch is how much more these fires are really encroaching on populated areas. You know, 10 years ago, they happened in Mayhill, they happened, you know, southern New Mexico in places where they might burn 4 or 5 homes. Then all of a sudden they started happening pretty big in Ruidoso, where they're burning very expensive homes. Now they're on the outskirts of Albuquerque. I mean, they're in the city. They're at the Emerald City's gate. And
we have, that's right.
It almost sounds like you're talking about the Zika virus. Closer and closer.
Dan's reminded me, Sophie, of a good column Jolene Gutierrez had in the Journal this week. She lives in the East Mountains, in that this is a constant fear. If you live there, every summer is a what if? Is this the summer?
And it's not just during the summer. I have to say that there are state and federal programs that reach out to homeowners in areas like the East Mountains and work with them on clearing space around the house, making sure that you have appropriate planting around the house, that you know how to protect your building. But then it comes down, when it comes down to it, if the fire gets too close, it is important that you go. You know, even for those parts of the state that aren't experiencing fire nearby, I think the extreme temperatures that we're seeing this year, not just in New Mexico, but in the region, I mean, we're in the middle of this heat bubble. I mean, you look at the maps of it, like New Mexico's right in the center. We have officials in Phoenix warning their people, saying just don't leave the building. Don't go outside. We had a woman in downtown Phoenix who collapsed because of the heat and died just walking downtown. That's right. It seems to me that to the extent that you can say erratic, horrible weather is the new normal, it seems to me this is what we're looking at the new normal, and unfortunately it's something that we had an opportunity to prepare for. But as Dan has just said, it's not sexy to plan ahead for this kind of thing. Right. It's difficult when you have hungry people now, projects that you want to work on now. It's difficult to say, let's put money. What did we say? We want to put money away for a rainy day. There's never a rainy day in New Mexico.
That's right.
There are fires. And
if you count sparks raining down.
And I think of, you know, you look at cities like San Francisco that's worked so hard to ameliorate potential damage from earthquakes. And we haven't really, you know, that's taken very seriously there. It's taken very seriously in Seattle. There's more for those areas to do. But we don't see exactly that kind of effort happening here. To a certain extent, we've been lucky. We have the fires, but as Dan has said, they're on the outskirts, they're further away, smaller numbers of people are affected. I think with the heat issues we're having right now, we have to be concerned about doing more.
At the same time, Merritt, you know, real people are having their lives impacted. Again, I have to think about the time. We have a lot of folks that work in the city, that live in the East Mountains, they commute back and forth.
Like me.
Right, you're saying, it is not easy to bundle your animals, get your kids' stuff together, get your animal stuff together, and evacuate. We hear this word evacuate. There's this whole process that has to happen in concert with the county, as a matter of fact, to help you. You have to have places to go. Things have to be paid for when a tight budget crunch. These things are difficult after a fashion.
You know, and I would actually take a little exception to what Dan and Sophie said. I've been an East Mountain resident since 2005, and for the last 2 years, I have done media training for first responders through New Mexico DHS. And, you know, a lot of us, when we think media training, we're thinking, oh, we're repairing talking heads and spin doctoring. No, our first responders and our state are focused on spending 3 days where you work through what information to release when, who needs to know it, using social media. There is a Facebook page up like that with this fire, because that's the fastest way to get information out, rather than trying to get stuff through an official state website where you might have to wait for someone to do it. There's a tremendous commitment to get the information out and interagency cooperation. The Sandia Ranger District Public Information Officer is now the DHS PIO, Karen Takai. She's just phenomenal. So I think...
But I think we're talking more about forest management. We're talking more about...
I agree.
So the information, I think, is getting out quickly. There's been good coverage in the press.
But they're
I
also
don't disagree
focusing in
with
the
you on
non-fire
that.
season.
But where is the,
Where's the investment in buying 5 new airplanes that are
Yes,
that are
thank
Gusher
you.
planes that the minute it happens, or training,
which is not the fault
training
of
200
the fire service in any way.
But
Well, we
isn't
also-
that the point? Senator, isn't that the point where you spend the money, but we sort of count on the federal government to bail us out a little bit on these things? You declare a state of emergency, which the governor did, and our county commission has done as well. There's a pipeline, there's a system for that. So why not just do everything you have to do and just think of, about the feds coming in to save us? Or is that just a risky play?
No, I think, if you're, I'm from New Mexico, and we always say, what is it? We don't have earthquakes, we don't have tornadoes, we're
Right.
such a great, great weather. And I think, as Sophie said, you sort of the new normal, drought, fires, and I don't think we really come to terms with the fact that we do have to really start thinking about what does it look like to keep people safe through the crazy changes we have with climate change and so on.
Right.
I think part of the reason why we are sort of in our system of government is if every small community, especially relatively poor communities like this area, had to invest a lot of money at the expense of education and so on, in all this infrastructure, whether it's vehicles or planes or whatever, then it sort of defeats the purpose of why we're sort of all in this together. Like, we need, as we've learned a lot of sort of these crises around the country, we need a strong role for a federal government, and that's why we're sort of in this together as a nation. And I think we ought to have a better plan for preparing people to the extent possible. But given what we're going to talk about today, the budget crisis, we can't
We do
equip.
have a good plan. I mean, I feel very well informed. The Forest Service, the neighborhood associations, the Sheriff's Department, everyone is working together. Every time there's a major snowstorm, there's a controlled burn in the East Mountains and the major residential areas. We also know I'm living in a dry place with a lot of trees. I am taking that risk. I get that. We have defensible perimeter. We're very careful about this. We thin our trees every few years. I think that we are doing a very good job, both homeowners and local government, state, federal government, of managing this as best we can. We're not waiting for it to build up. We're doing the controlled burns. So while, of course, this fire was devastating and 24 homes were lost, if you think about the population and how that could have shifted, right. I feel like it was well managed, and also something that's inevitable.
I'm reminded, Gene, of the sort of state sovereignty movement that says, give all of our federal lands back to the state.
That's right.
And there comes this moment where the state says, you know what, we really don't want that. And in a state like New Mexico, I mean, the thought of having no federal assistance in terms of the fires on what are now federal lands is a terrifying thought. So I think there's a balance that, to Eric's point, there's a balance that has to exist here between local efforts and the communal, the federal.
And Gene, remember real quick, also, when we talk about the feds, no one's saying that the feds don't have a role. The problem is the only way the feds have a role is after the fact.
That's right.
So we've got to figure out a way to either get access to that money prior to the fires happening, or every time we go access this stuff, it's going to be after 24 homes have burned down, forests have burned, lives have been lost, property's been damaged. There's got to be a way to create that scenario that's more proactive than reactive.
And there is cooperation at the state and federal
There is.
level on a regular basis. The course I train is a FEMA curriculum. FEMA makes phenomenal resources available to states at very, very nominal rates covering their costs. And I'm probably, as an Albuquerque trainer, cheaper than shipping in somebody in from Washington, D.C. So I feel like the cooperation is there. Could we do more? Absolutely. But I think what we're doing for the budgetary and the scope of our government, I think we do very well.
Thank you for adding all that in. Really appreciate it. A lot of folks probably don't know what you were just talking, they're unaware, completely unaware of all the work, so really appreciate that. Now, when we come back to the line, we'll discuss the recent news that the state's budget could be headed toward insufficient funds soon.